Hello, everyone. Tonight, I want to talk about a story that broke not too long ago. In fact, just in the past week or so, that affects us all as creators, as individuals. And I have an announcement to make that I want to get your thoughts on each of it. Stay with us. The story in question that I'd like to talk about tonight is the one that's been dubbed the Voxadpocalypse. And tonight is a very special edition of the video call-in show. I want to talk about Voxadpocalypse, what it is, what it means to all of us, and what I've decided to do in its wake. Now, there is no shortage of sources for the backstory in this development, so I'll try to quickly give you an interview. In the last couple of weeks, it seems there's been a feud of sorts between two rather prominent YouTubers, namely Steven Crowder and Carlos Maza. Steven Crowder is a comedian that runs the Louder with Crowder YouTube show. It's a right-leaning comedy, slash political pundit show. And Carlos Maza is a writer and video program host for the YouTube channel Vox. And I think they also do some reporting on the side. They're more of a left side of the political spectrum. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a left and right thing, but allow me to continue. Here's what happened. Mazda does what he does, and it's a program called Strike Through that he does, with in association with Vox. That's VOX, where he blathers on and on about how terrible the right is. Meanwhile, Steven Crowder has a show called Louder with Crowder, where he's taken it upon himself to, blather on about how horrible the left is. But he's taken it upon himself to devote several of his shows to debunking, and I use air quotes for debunking, Maz's points on some of his videos. Well, comedians being comedians, and that's what he touts himself is a comedian. Crowder tends to make fun of his subject during these rebuts, and in this instance, he repeatedly referred to, excuse me, Carlos as ellipsy queer, lispy queer, gay Mexican, gay Latino, et cetera, ad nauseum. I might add, too much for my taste, but keep in mind, it's his brand of comedy. And this Mazda character, whose Twitter handle name is Gay Wonk, actually refers to himself with the same exact terms. Keep that in mind. One look at his Twitter feed is all you need to see the multitude of self-depreciating terms he uses when he refers to himself for context. That said, Crowder's last video, his debunking video, was apparently too much for our Vox commentator, as he immediately took to Twitter and ironically stated that he has thick skin, but since Crowder keeps calling him names, though he referred to it as overt attacks, and I can show you one of, a few of those tweets, actually. Let's see. Yeah, that was the first one. Oh, no, no. No, that's not the first one. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Yeah, there you go. Since I started working at Vox, Steven Crowder has been making video after video debunking. He uses the air quotes. Let me pull that up for you. He uses the air quotes as well. Debunking Strike Through, that's his program. Every single video has included repeated overt attacks on my sexual orientation and ethnicity. Here's a sample. He accompanying that tweet was a compilation video of Crowder with all of the slurs in question, but of course, only the jabs were featured, not the content of his the critique of Maz's points. Noted. He also alleged that he had received a great number of attacks from Crowder followers on his Twitter feed, and it was making his life somewhat uncomfortable. Something that Crowder, I should point out, has always discouraged and even reported when it came from one of his own fans. This, of course, is not the case for our friend at Vox, who seems have no problem whatsoever attacking and calling for actual harassment. This is one of his. Milkshake them all. Humiliate them at every turn. Make them dread public organizing. Now, that's a call to action. Again, it seems like I have a side. As most people know, I'm right leaning. There's no question about that. Libertarian, if you will. But still, I want to try to get this as even handed as I possibly can. So, so not actually stopping there. In fact, he then turned his ire to all uh, all people who would do what he would consider harassment, which it's not harassment. Calling people names is not harassment. Repeatedly, well, we all know what harassment is, but let's go there. Um, he went straight after YouTube, alleging that they allow people to spew this hate speech, which is a term I despise, and I don't think it applies here, and harassment again on their platform and not supporting the gay community. So after a few of these YouTube is anti-LGBT, et cetera, tirades, he then receives a tweet directly from YouTube, which never happens. Just ask Crowder. Nearly 4 million subs, and he says he doesn't get replies directly from YouTube ever. Anyway, the tweet told Mazda that they would look into it and they would direct message him immediately, which I'm sure they did. 5 days later, YouTube releases a statement about their investigation, and in that they say, although I'm not going to pull this up, but although the slurs could have been hurtful, they did not violate their policies, which means that, yeah, it's bad speech is protected speech as well. Speech that incites violence is speech that should not be tolerated. So YouTube seemed to be on the right side here. Well, of course, that wasn't the outcome that Mr. Mazza wanted. Apparently, because he and his minions became even more vocal. And both he and they wanted Crowder and his ilk to literally be removed from the platform. So how'd that turn out? As a result, within 24 hours of their original statement, YouTube releases this. And I think I've got this called up. Maybe not. No, I don't. But I have it paraphrased. Quote, update on our continued review. We have suspended this channel's monetization, meaning Crowder's. We came to this decision because a pattern of egregious actions has harmed the broader community and is against our YouTube partner program policies. Well, that sounds fine, except that here's how that fell out. Just like Patreon, YouTube decided, subsequent to this notice, that an off-platform activity was unacceptable. And in order to regain monetization, in this case, Crowder was asked to stop a specific, and I stress, off-platform activity. What was that activity, you ask? He was asked to stop selling a T-shirt. That T-shirt is controversial. It depicts Che Guevara, the brutal dictator, and it contains the word, socialism is for figs. The I, which appears to have an asterisk, literally has a fig leaf in it. Oh, yes. And to address certain, in quotes, harmful content on Crowder's channel, none of which did they specify, which is all too typical for these tech giants. We've had this discussion before. They did, however, cite specific videos, many of which had already been manually reviewed and approved. This says a great deal about our platform, which I will get into later. At the same time, they released an update to the policy, to their monetization policy. In that announcement, that came the same day as Crowder's demonetization, YouTube said it would begin removing, quote, videos alleging that a group is superior in order to... I'll just bring this up. Why not? And I quote, videos alleging that a group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, or exclusion, along with videos denying the occurrence of mass tragedies. Well, unfortunately, that that nebulous piece of text has resulted in a demonetization frenzy by YouTube. In fact, there have been several reports. Here's one that YouTube's new policies are catching educators, journalists, activists in the crossfire. They are taking down any. Oh, I should have killed the Mazda Crowder thing, but they are taking down videos based on arbitrary, open, and vague policy descriptions. Now, to give an example of that really fast before I open the floor to you folks, because I do want to get your take on this. It's very important. I don't want to make it political. It's literally it's a YouTube and creator issue here is where I was going with all this. But we're all feeling the hit on both sides of the political spectrum, and that will be driving the announcement I'll be making here very, very soon. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. Bear with me, guest. I will be done very, very, very shortly. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yes. And to illustrate that point, the Daily Wire talking with, well, actually, it was an interview in the Axios published Sunday, talking with Google CEO Sundar Pichai. I think that's how you pronounce it. He says, "Look, we aren't quite where we want to be," Pichai told Axios on HBO. While YouTube is improving on eliminating content it deems problematic, he suggested there are still working even more extensive content controlling measures. Scary. Google, said Pichai, ranks content based on quality. They do plan at this, or they plan to apply the same approach to YouTube. So we're bringing that same notion and approach to YouTube so that we can rank higher quality stuff better and really prevent, watch these words, borderline content. Pichai then offered a definition of what is meant by borderline content. Content which doesn't exactly violate policies, which needs to be removed, but can still cause harm, he said in language echoing YouTube's statement to Crowder days later. The issue is a hard computer science problem, said Pichai, but an even harder societal problem because we need better frameworks around what is hate speech, what's not, and how do we as a company make those decisions at scale and get it right without making mistakes. The Daily Wire continues with Pichai says YouTube has always had rules of the road, including long-standing policy against hate speech. YouTube said Wednesday in a statement, "Today we are taking another step in our hate speech policy by specifically prohibiting videos alleging that a group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, exclusion based on qualities like age, gender, race, caste, religion, sexual orientation, veteran status. We will be enforcing this updated policy. However, it will take time for our systems to fully ramp up. We will be gradually expanding coverage over the next several months," the platform explained. Earlier this year, YouTube said it was going to crack down on channels repeatedly brush up against our hate speech policies by barring them from working with YouTube partner program. So, obviously, given my emphasis, you know the words and the portions of those policies that I'm stuck on, the ones that have affected me and very well may affect each and every one of us moving forward. How a company can get away with such nebulous and such vague policy descriptions is beyond me, but that's the world we live in now, folks. All right, having said that, I am going to bring on one of my favorite guests of all time. I don't know where this conversation is going. We've had just very small amount of let me set this up real fast, dude. I've got to, I don't know, relax for a moment here. All right. Oh, where is it? There we go. Okay, and Almost there, dude. Almost there. I don't have your name yet, but all right, all right. Let's just get right over to him. Please welcome once again Andrew Busha to the show. Andrew, let me hit your mic so you can unmute there, folks. I'm going to lock this out for now. If you've got a question for me, can you hear me, Andrew?
Yes, sir. Loud
Ah,
and clear.
wonderful, wonderful. Folks, if you've got a question for me, I'll try to get to it. Make sure you tag me so that I can see it. If you've had questions up to this point, I apologize for not, because I had to read what I had to read and I had to say what I had to say. And stay tuned, because my announcement will come up. It's an announcement. I think I might come up while I'm talking to you, Andrew. It's not groundbreaking for me. It's significant, but it's not something that's folks. I'm not going to quit doing this. Don't. I've already been asked that.
I'm leaving right now. If that's kind, I don't want to hear that part. So
No, 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 no. I should leave most of you at ease. I'm not going to give up what I'm doing. I love doing this. I absolutely love doing this, what makes this so difficult to watch, to read, and to learn about, right?
I agree. I agree. I'll just say hi to everybody in here first. Hi to all you in the chat. I want to say that Jim was very nice to invite me on the other day. I couldn't tell you at the time I had Cab 7 coming up for the weekend, and my weekend would be absolutely nuts. So, so that's why I apologize. We never got to talk more, because then today was nothing but catch up. But I got to say, first of all, very well said at the beginning. You really nailed it. And I think I can safely say that you and I pretty much share the same feelings about it.
Uh-huh.
I go, it is the state of how I feel as a creator on YouTube. It bothers me so much. And I'm also the realist of this is not surprising with YouTube. And I did say at the beginning of the year, get ready, because YouTube by the end of the year is going to look a lot different than when we started 2019.
I remember hearing you say that. Yes.
And I'm not trying to sound like Nostradamus or anything like. I don't predict the future,
Please continue, Nos.
but
I'm kidding.
but the writing was on the wall. I mean,
Mhm.
there's no denying where this is all going.
Right.
And the days of the glory days of YouTube is when it began is kind of like looking back to the 60s in San Francisco and saying life was going to be that way. It's not that they're going in the right direction, it's the direction it's going to go. And it's not a moral, it's whether they like my morality views onto it or not, it's not going to change them. They need the advertisers, and they're tired of being on the front of the New York Times and everything, and they don't want to keep getting caught with their pants down in a big expose. I just think that there's more stuff besides that. This is just another stepping stone towards where they want to go. And it's going to be a lot more friendly family before we're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I agree. I agree. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, you know me, I'm all about the freedom of
Mhm.
expression and all of
Yes.
that. And
Mhm.
you want to put content filters in there to keep kids out of what some would consider, not family friendly, not safe for work content. That's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
But like I said before, where my sticking point is
Mhm.
is one, they're so far on the fence that it does no one any good,
Right.
and everything that they've come up with is from such a subjective position
Mhm.
and arbitrarily administered,
Oh, yeah.
that it's for us creators, it's impossible to know what the friggin' rules are.
And we'll never know.
Impossible.
We'll
Yeah, but if
never
we
know.
should, we
I,
absolutely should.
you know
That's
what
yeah,
happens is they got over 2 billion. I mean, we say 2 billion plus channels. We all know most of those are not active, and those are great inflated numbers.
sure.
But nonetheless, there's too many, and they want to do everything gray so they can react without having to put a new law out. They're doing a gray specifically to cover their own butt. When somebody kind of dances the lines and they get some public flack, they'd be able to yank them out, and nobody will even know to that day if they really were in the guidelines or not, because there was no guidelines. Let's call it for what it is.
Yeah.
Some gray suggestions with some harsh consequences if they decide that you fit in that category.
Yes.
It's not right. And for the record, I just want to be really clear. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. No waving a flag for them.
No. No.
But on the other side, too, there is another side. We got to look at it from them. We got to look at what's being pushed out today.
Mhm.
And let's face it, the last couple of years, and I've said it time and time again, I blame 1K, 4K so badly. I will to the day I die, I will blame it.
Yep.
Brought out the worst of the worst in YouTube, and now we're getting more and more backlash. We blame it all on a couple of the big ones at the top, but let's face it, it's been just played and played with so badly that years ago, even people who did awful content, and that's in the eye of the beholder,
Hmm.
still did it with a bit of a creator's spirit behind it to make something.
Yes.
Now it's just lost all that. And Crowder, as much as I might not agree, at least they're putting on a show, they do their own thing. There is something to it. It is
Hmm.
not somebody standing in a yard yelling at a camera on a phone, but
True.
they're also paying the price even for the small creators and vice versa. We're all paying for all this mess that's going on here. It's
Yes.
become much of the Wild West.
Absolutely. And to Crowder's credit, he was a smart man. He doesn't rely on YouTube ad revenue at all, which no one should. And
Exactly.
he's done the smart thing. He is completely diversified. His revenue comes from sponsorships, offline sponsorships that, of course he uses on the show.
Yep.
And his club. I think he's got a mug club that you can join and get, videos and things. I'm not I'm not shilling for Crowder here. I'm not
No, no,
yeah,
no.
I know. I'm not I don't even think I subscribe to him, but I catch him every once in a while because I do watch some libertarian and conservative sort of videos.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, he's a smart man in that respect. I think everyone should follow that example.
If you're on this just looking for AdSense, my God, we were just saying that a while ago,
Yeah.
but this wasn't our tie, but that tied in. You're gonna
Mhm.
have one bumpy, miserable road till
Yes.
you finally quit, because you will quit. You'll
Mm.
hate it.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so disheartening, man. It is so disheartening to see this sort of thing
well, it's the
happen.
soul. It's the soul of YouTube being drained out of it. I mean, from the creator's side, that's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
going to be so tainted with whitewash that you're not going to know. You're not going to want to breathe in case you go out of the boundaries.
Right. Right.
You
I
know.
we actually had a show on, well, my Friday panel
Yep.
show. Jesse was on the show, and he said, "Well, it is they let you use the platform for free." So, but I actually disagree with that to a great extent in that they make money from the creators' content.
We
So
put
they're not actually what's that?
we put in a lot of time what we do, which helps build the content that's on here. Definitely.
Right. In fact, to hear Crowder, and I don't know if this is true or not. His brother and himself were one of the first to be asked on the beta um,
Yeah,
partnership program.
I heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard him say that. I've seen a clip of that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Interesting how things change, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but that that made me even more sad that here we have here we've invested ourselves in a platform that would literally turn on those that helped create them. And that bothers me a great deal. I mean, well, that's a microcosm, but I'm sure that happens elsewhere as well, right?
I do. I
Yeah,
agree with
yeah.
you
This
on
is
that.
just what bubbled up to the surface, and you and I have already talked about some of the other instances that would be considered very similar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
we complain, and I say that a lot. We all complain. Oh, I feel like I don't like this here. You got to hate the big guys if you're on YouTube and starting. I can't stand that. That's like being a
no,
musician and saying I won't listen to BB King or Clapton because I'm small. It's ridiculous. It's such a narrow way of thinking.
yep.
Imagine how all those guys like Linus Tech Tips and all them feel rejected.
Oh yeah,
Hey, got 28 employees working, 12,000 square feet of storage, up to 8.6 million, and they couldn't care less. They'll come down on them like they would on us.
sure, sure.
They're not protected. They have no contracts, no nothing with them, no guarantees.
Nope.
They get left lots. They get strikes. It takes them 10 weeks to fight it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
And
if they do it to them,
yeah, and I think that's the big lesson here. There is no contract.
nope.
There's a terms of use, um, and in terms of services applies to monetization.
Yep.
But you do not have a written contract other than your click OK.
Hmm.
So there and the larger picture is there are no guarantees because there are no contracts.
That's right.
So
So
folks, yeah, listen to that in the broader perspective. When as you're fighting to get 1,000, as you're fighting to become monetized, think about what that actually means.
that's right.
You have no protection. Yeah, you may make some scratch. And of course,
Mhm.
it'll take a long time to make some scratch. But really, there's no guarantee that that scratch will continue no matter how active you are on the platform,
Nope.
and especially given their arbitrarily administration of the rules. So that I'm going to use the air quotes again, rules, because they're not rules.
Exactly.
That is
They're
that's
rough
so
guidelines with no guidance to them whatsoever.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like look at Philip DeFranco as a great example. There's somebody that should say, "Oh my God, look, we have somebody almost as big as the news." Because if people don't realize what he's doing, he took what they used to do in NTV, news for the young. He just took that format over the internet.
Hmm.
Ingenious idea.
Hmm. Yeah.
Smart. It's not my cup of tea, but I get it.
Hmm.
And look how they crap on him. Half of his stuff's demonetized because he's talking about world events.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me they can't set something up to monitor it so he doesn't get demonetized? Like, really, you can look me in the face and tell me that to one of your biggest stars going? It
Mm,
just shows you, it speaks volumes of what's going on there.
it does. It does.
You know?
And unfortunately, there is a political bias to that. I don't, like I said, I don't want to turn this political, but I think it's unbelievably apparent
Yeah.
that we're looking at a great deal of this being driven by political ideology.
Oh yeah.
That's again that bothers the hell out of me as well. So look, it's half past, and I'm going to tell you, Andrew, what this means to me, how I've decided to deal with it.
Okay.
I'm making an official public announcement that I don't care anymore. I don't care about monetization at all. I do not want monetization. I've always said that I'd like to keep this channel ad free. Well,
Right.
now I'm stating it until they would come in with some concrete rules and regulations. I will not exercise my monetization, even if they approve it.
Really.
I will not take super chats because YouTube takes, what is it, 60% or
Yeah.
40%, something like that. I will not allow them to run ads on my content if I can help it because of the disparity in earnings there as well. I'm just not going to do it. If people want to support my channel,
Hmm.
go buy some merch. At least you get something for it.
I agree with you on it.
Yeah,
I'm all with you on it.
yeah. Become a subscribe star or a PayPal. I will not use Patreon for the same reason. Um,
The only thing I would say maybe is still go through the process, but don't allow the monetization part, but just go through the process so you still have access to a rep.
oh,
But
I've
then
already applied. Yeah, I
already applied.
applied. I applied well before my 1,000. I suggest everyone do that
Yeah.
if for nothing else but what Andrew just said.
Okay, good. So I didn't want to take down your. I was just because I like your channel. I don't want to go in anywhere. I want to make sure. I got caught right before we got hit right before we did, and we almost lost a lot of time. So
Oh.
now I'm happy and I'm standing by and clapping. So I'm like,
Well,
I like
thanks,
you. And I
man.
don't
I
want you going anywhere.
I appreciate that. I've decided that almost immediately. The second statement came out. I said, one, they don't deserve my money
Right.
or the benefit of my creations. They just don't. And until they can prove themselves worthy, I mean, this is how we used to do it, man. We used to vote with our wallet. We used to vote with our patronage. Until they prove that they do deserve, to benefit from the creation of this content, I choose not to allow them to do so. And if they do it on their own, then the show will go down. If they start running ads on my show without my consent, I won't do any more shows here. I'll move to, what is it? There's BitChute.
And
There's all kinds of different avenues popping up, which I hope
yes, yeah, I know. Me
become
too.
real competition for these behemoths.
Well, I wish you nothing but the best with it. And I gotta say, I admire your belief into it. You know, because that's something that's sometimes rare on here. So to see something with that kind of conviction, my hat's off to you.
Thanks,
That's
man.
all. It's your choice, and I stand right beside you in your choice on that. Not that it matters, but I am there with you, and I congratulate you on it. So,
No, it does matter. I mean, support always helps, and I'm
well,
getting. I can see that I've got a lot of support in the chat as well.
mhm.
Thanks to all of you for that. And of course, Drone Kings and Darwin says if you don't apply, they can't run ads on the channel. Well, they could if they wanted to,
Oh, yeah, they can do
Brad.
any.
Yeah, they
They
could.
can do
Hmm.
anything they want.
Yeah,
There's nothing. So that's
and I
what
don't have a problem with that
no,
because it's
but
their platform.
exactly. Then that's what we are. We're not even renters.
Hmm.
Because even renting, we would have to sign something that benefit us. When you agree to the terms of service, you're just agreeing to what is good for them. There's nothing in there for you. There's nothing that says you're guaranteed this or that. And all you're doing is doing what they want you to do while you're here, and you're on borrowed time.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
it's that simple in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know they got to raise money. I am a supporter. I know why they got to keep the advertise. I get why they got to keep advertisers happy. And like I understand. especially now with everything 4K and 1080 is almost the minimum at this point.
Mhm.
Somebody's got to pay for the servers somewhere. I'm not against them having advertising,
Oh, I'm not either.
you know.
I'm like I said, dude, I'm a search engine marketing, director.
Yeah, so you're well, like I'm talking to I'm preaching to the
I've been running ads on Google and Bing and Yahoo since '04.
oh,
So
jeez.
so I totally get that. For, an unbelievable,
Mm,
variety of industries and clients.
yeah,
Unbelievable. Uh, Juneau County Droner says, "What are the alternatives to YouTube?" Well, there's, BitTV, BitChute,
Twitch. You can go.
Twitch, yeah.
What is it? PewDiePie has their dive. What is it called?
I don't know. I
PewDiePie
don't
Stream Network. I can't think of it now. That one's getting up some traction.
is it?
I mean, it's still YouTube is the biggest platform.
Mhm.
That's the one thing though. Right now, tell that changes, but it all starts with competition.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if I could just give you one, I hate to bring him up again, but like I said a while ago, Linus Tech Tips, he went in with one time called Vessel, and he started expanding.
Mhm.
And this is a cautionary tale, but this is also what can happen to YouTube. They had an agreement, that was one of those new ones where you pay $3 a month, get to watch. And they had a show coming up to do every Friday. So they had left Twitch. They were doing it there every Friday plus their YouTube. All of a sudden they got an email. It got bought out by NBC and it was closed within 2 days. Done. No promises. And that's a big channel that they went after to bring over to build up this vessel.
Mhm.
So it just shows you on here how quickly things can end.
Yeah.
And it was just a one-page email, not garnished to him. It's the same generic email that everybody got. It was done.
Yeah.
Over.
Yep.
And that can happen with YouTube. You can wake up tomorrow morning and be done. The whole platform could be gone. There's nothing. There's zero there for protection.
Right, right. So that means, that, for you folks or, wherever you're at in the YouTube sphere, diversify, man. Create a website. It's so easy. You go to bigcommerce.com, fire up a website with a good template, and sell anything you want to, and that even includes subscriptions to your channel.
Yep.
They won't take that away from you. YouTube won't. But they could go to Teespring, look at my stupid face on my T-shirt with those
Yep.
rules, and say, "Well, we don't like that, so you're
Exactly.
going to be demonetized." And yeah, you're showing the thumbs up sign, which probably means something really horrible.
Yeah.
And we're going to now demonetize you. So I guess the lesson here is that it could happen to you as well. The sub
Oh yeah,
lesson, and
definitely.
and don't wait for it. Make sure you hedge your bets. If you're an investor, you wouldn't go for all one stock. You wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all your eggs in this basket. Am I going to talk to the fan now?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know why it's coming in so bad tonight. I don't know. Are you seeing it okay on your end, or is it really coming in grainy?
uh no, it looks fine to me.
It does. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
No, I've got you stretched up because I'm using an interface I don't normally use. I didn't want to throw up the number until I'm ready to, if I take on other guests. So
Oh
it's
no.
just, yeah, it's just you and me.
Okay, there. I brought back the preview. Okay, good. I was
Okay.
worried.
No,
Not that in that vein. I was just like, is my internet connection dying or somebody?
no, I mean, I'm talking to you, but you're talking to the snack machine. But other than that, it's fine.
I was talking to the fan. That's why I was, yeah, we got a good repertoire going. But you did make some good points. So did the fan. So I'm 50-50.
Oh man. See, this is
Oh,
what makes it such a ball of fun and why I'm not going to stop until a better alternative comes along.
and I don't want you. I mean, really, that's what I was almost starting to worry for a second. I was like, good God, we need more of you, not less. We need more channels doing what you're doing.
Well,
That's the biggest thing.
yeah, I'm sorry to scare everybody. I didn't mean to. I didn't think it would be taken that way. I literally was just going to comment on, how that affected me, and of course I can see how it might have been construed as though I was going to leave the platform. But no, dude, I'm having too much fun. I'm meeting too many good people, especially too much fun to worry about what some idiots in some cubicles are doing.
Well,
I'd
yeah,
yeah, I'd rather continue to do this and have fun. But I'm not going to back off my opinion nor my convictions. What is it
and
said that a man who won't stand for anything will fall for anything? Oh wait, won't stand will stand for nothing, will fall for anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's true.
Hmm.
I was when we. I don't mean to bring it up, but like when the other night when we hit I was telling people you can go back and look, and we're actually I went and looked tonight. Funny it should be. We've lost about 4,400 subscribers since we started.
Lost,
That
you say?
unsubscribed.
Hmm.
We right now we would have been at 12,500. Over 1,000 to 1,500 I've banned.
Mm.
I
Oh
could
wow.
easily be in this just for the numbers,
Yeah.
but because everybody knows I give out all blue wrenches, and I kid you not, if you've seen it, the blue wrench over 10 months or 11 months is about the same size as the one that's been banned. It's two gigantic ass lists when you put them together. Some of them had even overlapped by times, but in the end, it would be easy to just get on here and just say, "Let's get the numbers in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it." And I've taken my flack for having my convictions, but you know what? That's why we said tonight if it was to end tomorrow, I'd hate to see my channel go away, but I'm not sorry.
Hmm.
And I feel accomplished. I'm not waiting for a million subscribers to feel accomplished.
Yeah.
I feel accomplished where I am for what I've done. And not that I've done everything right, it's that I feel good internally with what I've done. The
Hmm.
choices I made, I can live with. I've made my mistakes and I've done my right things. But in the end, I can walk away feeling, you know what? It's good. I no regret.
Yeah.
And that's
No regrets. I was just gonna say that. No regrets. You should have watched my no regrets. I was actually watching some of your live stream the night before this show as
uh,
I was writing up my diatribe. Uh, I caught some of that. Sorry I didn't chat or anything, but
no,
yeah, I
no,
was
that's okay.
yeah, and publicly, congrats on the 8K milestone. That's awesome.
I appreciate I didn't, but I swear I didn't mean it for that. I hope you know that. I really just was I
You know
say
this
that
channel.
are time for reflection. They really are. And I do believe that. You got to look at what you're doing on here so you feel good enough to go to continue on to the next part.
Mhm.
And do what you believe into. Like you're doing to if you believe into it, do it because otherwise you're living a sham.
Yes.
And shams always fall apart. You got to pick and choose your battles, and sometimes you got to be like anything else in life, because the channel is like a personal business. We have a personal business. It's no different the way we run the channel than we do that.
Yep.
Make decisions every day. What's going to benefit? What's going to hurt? Some are right. Some, hopefully, the majority are.
Mhm.
But you got to believe in something,
Yes.
or
Yes.
otherwise you're just flying around here. I mean, it's an awful existence to me. No, but I really, I couldn't even understand why to be on here without having something. It would seem like such an empty, pointless endeavor.
Mhm. Yeah, it would. It would. And I wanna ask you, in a minute, what your, 'cause I don't the last time you were asking me what my goals were, I think I wanna ask you what your goals are. And I might
Okay.
as well just do that now. Where do you hope to go with this, Andrew?
Um, well, we kind of got caught with our pants down because we never planned the live stream. But now that we've done it for a while, we're kind of settling down. People can probably see that, we're going into different avenues. We're getting close to summer. Kids are going to be off. We definitely don't do interviews in the summer and stuff. It's just too much with kids. It is a lot of work, you know. Um,
Well, I know
I see.
you use this as somewhat of a, business generation tool. I know that, right? It started out that way and probably still continues. I imagine you get some business out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the original idea was to use it to make cinematography. All my early stuff is stuff we didn't do for customers, just to make our name more popular for when people searched. Same as Xenia did on Instagram. Stuff we didn't do for customers to get the name more. And it still helps. It's actually worked. That's why I'm fussy what I'll choose to talk about because I also have it tied into my actual business. So I have to be more careful,
Yes.
you
Yes, you
know.
do. You do.
Like I got flack the other day for not showing my who I'm subscribed to. I'm like, what happens if I'm subscribed to Crowder or I'm subscribed to a pro lesbian and somebody comes in for a wedding and sees that? That's enough to lose business. I have to
Exactly.
put that first. The channel doesn't keep us going,
Right,
It's
right.
the work that keeps me going.
Yeah, yeah,
I love. Oh,
and
good.
anything that might be perceived as, negative, like
Yeah,
you said, would hurt your business, so why even expose yourself to that? I'm fine
exactly.
with you doing that. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree with YouTube. I would be like YouTube if I was in their shoes. I'd be doing what they're doing right now because that's the business answer to it. For the creator side, it's hard,
But
and
which
that's
one?
I would be more like I err more on the side of caution. Like, if it was just maybe more career, maybe I'd be more open to showing who I'm subscribed to and things like that.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't like having a lot of hidden walls, but I got to think of what puts food on my family's plate first.
Yes, absolutely.
If I had known it was gonna be a live streamer, we would have never called it Pooch's Studios. We would have
Mm,
come up would have been something completely different, non-connected. But those are the breaks.
mhm, mhm.
We're too far invested by the time I got going. But
Sure.
it's a cold country here. We do video and photography, and it would be nice eventually. Maybe it grows into something. Let's speak realistically. Even if it was 25,000 and it generates some revenue, we get to help people more. Maybe it's individual help or whatever. Maybe some videos. I don't know.
Mhm.
This is what we got to look to now. We're looking now at sponsorship because we're getting closer to 10,000. It gives us more. buying power. Same as this year, we had more prominent guests. We were trying to ease our way up.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that was tricky because we got some more prominent, but we also wanted to keep like we had on the Walker fam and that. We want to let people see there's great stories in smaller channels as well, and we haven't lost contact. You got to walk that line. But I'm hoping that eventually it would be some sort of revenue stream for the winter months.
Yeah.
Video and photography is quite hard in Montreal. Yes, you do some indoors, but it's who wants to go out minus 35 degrees Celsius sometimes? It'd be nice to let a couple of jobs slide, because you have other revenue coming in. But
And you have such a long season.
it is. But I'm not looking at it like we don't have million subscriber eyes. I mean, if it ever came along, we'll not turn it down. But I'm not gonna like make that the pinnacle of everything we do. We certainly didn't start off doing it. Now that's growing, we have to give some sort of a game plan. I think every channel should. I really, honestly, no matter what you're into or a niche or just for fun, even that, have a game plan. Look 3 months down the road, 6 months, 9 months, and have a goal of some sort. It doesn't have to be big, but just something that keeps you on track
Hmm.
because it helps you grow properly. You need some momentum. You need to keep getting a little better each time. Like when I edit video, I always have a goal of trying to learn 3 new things every time, and they could be as small as just a different little twitch in the video. Anything that just makes me feel a little bit better than when I start. You know, and roll with them.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I hope it's an okay answer. Yeah, I don't.
No, no,
I'm used.
no. That was a
To,
very good answer. I really like the portion about learning something new every time you know.
Yep, that's my number three because it's enough to stay interesting, but not enough to make it all full of new things because then it will just like an experiment. So
Yeah, keeps the ramp low, right? I
yeah,
mean,
because yeah, I've seen that done too, and it can get really. I know when somebody shows me a video and they've just got a new like editing software, and every effect is pulled to 10. Like
oh man, it reminds me of the early days of the web when
oh,
you remember when they had that commercial about the flaming rotating logo sort of bullshit.
mhm,
I
mhm.
loved that. I mean, it was so true.
It
Because I
was.
was in, yeah, I was in early, man, early, and we used to joke about that all the time. And then to see it hit mainstream, that was awesome.
Well, I took the second Flash course they ever offered in Montreal here was in 2000, and I thought Flash was never going to go anywhere. I liked actually Mac Media Director. I love Director. Oh, programming CDs, that's the way of the future. This is going to be nothing.
I don't
I
mean
said,
to one up you, but I bought Flash when it was called Future Splash.
heard of it, never seen it, but I did hear of it. Really?
Oh
Holy.
yeah, yeah. Before Macromedia bought it, it was called Future Splash, and it was the exact same program, well, with the exception of the action script and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I4 Design, which with the number four, was one of the first to do a full Flash website, and it was amazing. So we bought it right after that when I was at the station, and we did a lot of Flash things during that award-winning time. I loved that messing with that stuff. But
I still have all my homework from that time because I went back to school. I was working on it since like 96 or 97, but then I went back to school. I had an allergy where I worked. Long
mhm,
story. Back to
mhm.
school, and I still have all my projects. And I looked. I had to do a website, and I remember that there was 5 pages, and the whole thing was 47K when it was done because we had to optimize it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, man, the times have changed. Holy God Almighty, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, I used to have a restriction on images. I said they cannot be over 10K. Absolutely not be over 10K.
You'd sit there waiting for them to load it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Captain Janeway. It was the infamous Simpsons. The comics
Yeah,
store guy
yeah,
was trying to watch some Captain Janeway porn. That
yeah.
was hilarious.
Coming. It's got Peter Griffin too. When he's on show his boss, he gets fired. Look at this girl doing the French right. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Ah!
Oh, those were the days, man. That's when we were all young and stupid and had
Oh,
had
look at
done-
the
you know
just time.
had candy canes and visions of candy canes in our heads when it
I
came to the
actually brought
interwebs.
on a channel, and I don't know if I'm going to do it. I have the video of the very first commercial video I ever did, and it was for the Ford for the Escalade.
Oh, really?
It was brand new, hot off the market. We had to do a project, and I was one of those go. I was 26 when I went back to school, so I knew what I wanted to do. I had a son, and I wanted to do something fantastic. And I got in touch with GM Ontario. It took me 4 weeks to negotiate it, and they sent me the beta reel for the commercial, the very first one, and they let me cut it and make my own. And I got 100% onto it. And they wanted to see what was done, and they showed on their website. And I am the proud person to say I was the first person to ever do a web commercial for the Escalade.
That's awesome.
I still have it here. It's in 640 by 480. Got that tacky early 2000 music where you made your own loops and that there.
Hmm.
My everything, like that kind of stuff. And that I thought about putting it up for one of my videos just to upload to heaven.
Oh, you should. Well,
I'm
you may have to talk to Ford, but yeah,
yeah, he'd take me out.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah. That'll be your Achilles heel, right?
exactly.
And I actually did some work for Ford too, which is kind of funny. I was working for the Simon Property Group, and they had a mall rewards card called, well, Mall Perks, right?
Right.
And in fact, I don't know if they're up there, but certainly they're all over the U.S. And they wanted to be they were sponsored by Ford. So what I
Okay.
ended up doing was I took the I think it was the '99 Taurus, and I did a full 360-degree interior shot, put it on the kiosk, and it went to all the malls where you could actually finger, back and forth. It was one of the first interior kiosk shots of a car before all the car dealerships started doing it. It
Isn't that
was,
awesome?
yeah, it was really cool, really cool.
That's a feat for back then. I mean, that would, that turned heads and then some.
Mm. Oh yeah,
That's cool.
yep. Sherry Simon loved it. She absolutely loved
Uh,
it.
What a time. It was so exciting to be in it back then. You know what I mean? Like it was so groundbreaking. Everything was like it was like on the edge of like going west all over again. There was that excitement in the air. Everybody was buzzed about it, and nothing was bad. It just seemed like whatever you could do was amazing. Everybody was clamoring around it because it was so new and shiny.
Yeah,
I like.
always trying to outdo one another. Create the next wonderful. Oh, that brings me back to the. I don't even want to talk about it, but I'll tell you this: I had the idea for Auto Trader well before Auto Trader.
Oh my god.
Well before the internet was the internet. It certainly was a government and an education tool, but the World
Oh,
Wide Web wasn't even a thing yet.
right.
Yeah, I think I talked about it on the show before, and that was one of the things that that really hurt me back in the day. Um, yeah,
But if it could, oh my God, that would be. I can understand why
yeah,
it's
it
hard.
still stings, man. Every time I friggin' bring it up.
I don't want to pour salt in the wound, so I'm letting you
No,
just go with this one. I'm sorry. Oh my God,
that's
that's
okay. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Always have been. So, I brushed it off and I moved on to other things. Started at least two different web development companies that were very successful. Um, and been an independent contractor ever since, probably '99.
But don't you think that's what drives you on YouTube? You have to have the sense of an entrepreneur to be here.
Oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
don't know why that's not addressed more. You hear all the videos and all the talk, and I see it so much like that. It's so much like a business. It's all of those fundamentals are right here. Actually, more because you're wearing all those hats. You need that wild spirit in you. You know.
Sparks Family TV likes my hat too. Oh, you weren't talking about mine. But in seriousness, you're right. Even the lowest level, the person who doesn't do anything but fire up their phone, go live on their YouTube channel, um, that is a business of sorts.
Yep.
You're creating a product for people to consume.
Yep.
Whether you're actually compensated for that is another story. But yeah, all the way up to those who are running serious businesses using YouTube as or social media, I'll say, because let's face it, YouTube with its comment section and interaction like this is one of the biggest social medias platforms on the planet.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
but all the way up to those big guys too, doing it as a true business with employees and the lot. So yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I do crap a lot sometimes on the whole thing. I always do my whole stick. You've seen it, where I grab the phone and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. And my dog's crapping in the backyard. Might as well say, flashing watch time for watch time for watch time across it. It is. Everybody's an entrepreneur. That's once again, with the especially the 1K, 4K, and some other stuff. It's almost turning into a bit like walking through Shanghai at 4 in the morning. That's the thing, and the refinedness is kind of gone, or the want to refine. Sometimes I see gone. That's the part that I find hard to
Yeah.
watch. You know, it's
We,
not saying everybody has to be Steven Spielberg, but I mean a drive to want to get better and not to do it perfect, but put more and more of a show. I feel like with live streams, it hasn't quite. It's getting better. It's going to get. I figure it's going to get better. That like you have a show and you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, which we all have with videos, right? You
mhm.
can't have it without that because nobody makes an infinity video. But that's what happens a lot with live streams. When you don't have even a basic plan, it is kind of an infinity show because you have no idea where it's going, where it's going to end. And that doesn't mean you can't freeball a little bit with everybody, but some sort of structure to start making it more legitimized for yourself. That's what's needed for growth, though, to get it to that next level.
Yeah, for yourself and your audience.
Well, yeah, they need to know what's coming. Imagine if I said, "Hey, I want you to watch this show. We have no idea when it's going to end, but we're going to sit back and put our feet." You're going to look at me, and it's not going to, it's not going to happen.
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah,
so
I often feel for those folks. I'm not I don't feel sorry for them, but and I don't pity them, but I'm like, I know what you're trying to do.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
I apologize for anyone who watches this who is actually doing it. Maybe you'll learn something. But maybe you should reevaluate
Yep,
and reassess your goals. And or if you don't have goals, you know, uh, formulate some.
yep.
And if those goals include live streaming, and you actually do want to serve an audience, even if it's just self-serving. I mean, everything we do is self-serving. There,
Oh,
it is once said that even charity is not a selfless act.
no,
No piece of charity is a selfless act. So, but even if it's for yourself, have a plan, have a goal, and then go toward that goal. Don't just do it because you think you're going to get watch time and you think you're going to get money and that sort of thing. That would be more advice that I would give than anything else.
by putting that thought into it and that work into it, that actually comes a lot quicker.
Mhm.
That's the whole trick. That's what's not seen in all this. Instead of taking the time saying, I'll be down for 4 days, you're not going to see me. But when I come back, I'm going to have a show together. You're going to actually gather that watch time. If that's what's really important to you, that watch time and being monetized is going to come so much faster by actually doing those steps because people will get emotionally connected to it. They'll know when it's coming on. It's at a certain time. They know when it's going to end. They can plan their evening around it and stuff like that. It does make a big difference.
Precisely. Well said. Well said. I hope they make it better, dude. I really do.
I do, but I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was.
No,
Once they get like that, they tend not to go back very much. But
that's true, but we can always hope that because I think there's improvements that can be made on the way it was.
oh, definitely for sure, without a doubt.
Hmm. And I just hope they recognize those before it's too late, or someone comes up with another business plan in this industry with that in mind.
But I think it's going to get worse. And I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer of all this. I think
Wah,
I'm
wah.
yeah, pretty much. I just see the writing on the wall for the time being. Like we talked about those big channels and how they even get crapped onto. But yet Will Smith comes in here out of nowhere and he's so we can see Jimmy Fallon is always on the recommendeds. I say not to crap on the big YouTubers. I honestly don't put them in as YouTubers. I'm talking about the guys that earn their way to the top. And you know what? Even as much as I can't stand them, there is a place for the Jake Pauls because there's always with the boy bands and music. I
Mhm,
don't like what they do, but you can't take it away. There were YouTubers in it. It's the
mhm,
ones transplanted from TV that in 2 days have 600,000 followers, get on the recommended constantly, all big personal endorsements.
mhm.
They're the ones that's taking the limelight, even from those big YouTubers that built this platform. I feel worse for them than anybody, to be honest.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And you actually touched on a very important aspect of that in that every one of these, I mean, for the love of Pete, they call them channels.
Yes.
If you don't like the channel, change it. Grab a clicker,
I love that.
turn your ka-chunk tuner over,
Turn
and
on the
for
color teeny.
yeah, and for the love of all that is holy, change that channel and watch what you want to watch.
Be happy on here. Don't let yourself be miserable. Don't go where you don't want to be. There's too much here of that's going to suit you to waste your time on what doesn't.
Right, right, right.
I am so good with it, and I've said time and time again, I'm not for everybody, and I get it. When you put yourself public, people hate the sound of my voice. They find I do my show wrong. They find it boring. Whatever the case they have every right to feel that way. And
I,
each of us know, we're not for everybody. You can't be for everybody.
I'd never say that publicly.
I, I said it all the time. I say with pride.
No,
I'm
about your voice, honey. Dude, I was just talking about.
okay. Now I get to. I say with pride. I'll cover it for you on this one. Don't worry. But it's true. Like you can't be for everybody, and you have to let that go and be proud of that, because then you know where you fit, and really go for where you fit. That's what's important. Know your demographic. I know mine is 25 to 55, 65% male, 35% female, give or take five. We know our demographics. I don't sit there and try and attract kids to come because they're not going to like what I do.
Right,
I'm fine by that. I can't be that for everyone.
right, right. And if YouTube would just let's get into the suggestion portion of the program, right? You and I have already suggested skin in the game instead of the 1,000, 4,000. I think that's if you guys haven't seen that, go back and watch our first interview. It is one piece to a much larger needed solution here.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that in addition to that, they need to find out a way to tweak the algorithm in such a way that it doesn't unfairly favor.
I hope they do that.
I hope
I
they do that. I think we're going to find that that's not going to happen because it's my gut feeling that money drives a lot of that.
Yep.
Yeah, some slip in, based on subject, maybe a unique subject identifier, but a lot of it is those channels that make them money are obviously the ones that they want a lot of people to see, because the channel that runs ads makes no money for them if no one sees those ads. So, which is another argument against that 1,000, 4,000, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably well if they did one or the other, go back to the old system. Let anybody run ads. Who cares if ads are running? And of course, the advertisers would have control whether or not they wanted to run on crap. But who cares if ads are running on a channel with one subscriber,
Yeah.
right? And nobody's going to win. The advertiser doesn't get any clicks.
Yeah.
The content creator doesn't get any money. So it,
I was going to say they do push monetize more, and they can say they don't, but they do.
Mhm.
Because you're looking at like, oh, $20, who cares?
Yeah.
But if you have, I don't know, 25 million channels bringing in $20 a month, you put that all together on their cut from it, they're happy. They
Yeah.
might say they don't push more, but they do. It's impossible. If they're doing this much to work their business plan, how are they ignoring that part?
Right.
I don't buy the kumbaya speech for 1 second.
Nope. I don't either.
Years ago, yes. Now, no. You
Exactly.
know, it's changed, and whether or not they have the right to do it, but I don't buy it. So just be straight with me. Tell me the way it is, and we'll work along that ones. Then the big ones, well, I mean, it's always we're stacking our chips in our favor. I always say that when you put, on your homepage and all this stuff, we're trying to stack our chips as much as we can in our favor. Well, the big guys, they just get everything stacked right away
Mhm.
because so many viewers come in right away. They know the brand well. Their channel is well prepared before it ever hits. So they got already lots of content. It's made for success. There's no way around it. So when they put Jimmy Fallon on, there's no way it's going to fail.
Right.
And
Right.
that shadows all of us every time, even the big one. And I know I keep going back to them tonight, but imagine if you are Unbox Therapy with 13 million subscribers and you've had to work years to get up there and they're sitting there putting Jimmy Fallon right beside you or
Yeah.
in front. I would feel royally ripped off.
Yeah, well, we should now,
Yes.
because what I didn't mention about their new policy is they're going to put a focus on highlighting, and here go those air quotes again, reputable
Yeah.
sources, and they
Yes.
even
Exactly.
named them like CNN, ABC, all the alphabet soups. I
Yep.
noticed Fox wasn't in there, obviously, uh, and
Right.
that should be terrifying
Oh, yeah.
for us relatively small creators. Terrifying if the goal is to get noticed by what you would think would
Yeah.
be a perceived audience.
Uh, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
The writing is on the wall where they want to go and what they want to do.
Hmm.
And instead of getting flack from these channels, now they're going to celebrate them. So instead, they look like the heroes, and maybe they'll not end up in the headlines as much
Yeah. Yeah.
and not have to go through another apocalypse. I mean, it's not right. I'm not justifying what they're doing. It's just that's where they're going. Like
Yeah.
it or that's
Yeah.
where they're going.
Like it or leave it. That is exactly
Mm-hmm.
the life lesson here, right?
Yep.
Because it's
Because
not
now they're.
ours.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I agree with you on that one fully.
Yep.
Well, much everything you said tonight, I agree with. So that's it's
Have we
sad, but
disagreed on anything tonight?
no, I don't think so. I think you're a lot like me. That's one thing I've always thought is you're a realist.
Hmm.
And I'm a realist. I know I don't paint. I don't paint everything fuzzy on here. I don't. That's why I don't say, "Oh my God, I'm going to hit 1 million subscribers." That's very rare that anybody ever will. I'm fine. I'm a realist about where things are, and you know what? That's what you got to be if you're on here. If you want to work with the system,
That is
because
true.
living that you're going to save the day, most channels end up getting shut down and closed. That's what happened to a lot of them. I said that tonight. I was saying, I don't know if you heard that part. My most hated expression, especially on YouTube, is, "Oh, I'm keeping it real." Like, are you 13? You know, what a justification for to me when I hear that. It's like, oh, they're about to be a moron. It's about to come. Get ready. It's on its way. You know, that's what a teenager says when the principal brings him in the office. You know,
Yes.
that's not living in reality. It is. Keeping it real is the dumbest thing that was ever invented because it means I'm going to be stupid, but this is real. No, you're being an idiot. You know?
To piggyback on that, you know what my pet peeve is?
What's that?
Way more.
Oh,
I can't stand to hear that used in a sentence.
oh.
I used to be way more angry than I am now. What the hell is way more, dude? Okay, but that's another soapbox for another night.
Oh, thanks, hon, for the coffee. I used to remember when I used to drink way more of this stuff. That's not true because I'm always drinking way more of it.
Oh, if we want to expand on that, I feel, and it's not immediately followed by an emotional or actual physical condition.
You're just keeping it real, then.
I'm just keeping it real, man. Oh man. Well, Andrew, we didn't get to actually talk on Twitter about putting this together, so I so appreciate you seeing
I'm
my reach out.
My apologies for that. I
Oh,
really do feel bad. I couldn't tell you the time Cab was coming, and I knew we even like didn't even check. I said this weekend is just going to be hanging out, which I haven't done, and then I came back into like 400 Twitter messages and work and everything else. So I do apologize for that one. Very much.
no, I figured you were busy, and I have no problem. In fact, I think one of the nights you got pulled down was the first night I tweeted you,
Oh
messaged you.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that's another. We should actually do a show on that entirely. I would love to hear more about that because it's probably will happen to me, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
About the time I go down, right?
Crossing my fingers when you were saying it. Actually, I was hoping God it would happen because I don't tend to fade anymore. I'm not even superstitious, but I don't tend anymore.
But yeah, I think that would be a great subject for you and I to actually, or maybe not. I mean, it's kind of up to you, given your position.
I'm always up for it. So I love talking to you. You know me. I love talking shop. So
Yeah.
I'm always up for it.
Well, I'm gonna let you go, dude. We're over an hour, and we could do this all night. But you know me, I try to keep into an hour on the weeknights, except for
I thank
Friday.
you very much for having me, and that was a great conversation. And keep up the good work. And I'm glad you're not going anywhere. We need more good. And you are a good channel, guys. And I know all you know that already. It's nice the effort and the work you put into what you do is not gone unnoticed. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thanks so much, Andrew. That's high praise as far as I'm concerned, and same to you. I love what you do. I'm in yours all the time, subscribing to my tastes and
I
expecting
love
others to
that.
do their same.
I
So
love that. Yeah. No, you're just keeping it real.
keeping it real, brother. All right, dude. Thanks so much for coming on, Andrew. We'll talk if we don't talk again in your chats. We'll certainly do this again and maybe broach another subject. Sound good?
Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Great conversation going on, that you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, bud.
Bye now.
Well, I couldn't have asked for a better guest on that one. Um, whoops. Let me get rid of that. because I respect Andrew a great deal. I expect respect what he does. He's just a good person. Um, and I appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to me rant. But I don't think it was. I don't. I hope that it didn't fall on deaf ears because I'm serious about it affecting all of us. Could rear its ugly head no matter what you're doing, and I just want you to be careful. For me, fortunately, I don't give a shit. Um, if they decide to demonetize me or shut me down, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm going to use their platform as much as I possibly can without their benefit until they show me, like I said, that they have earned the right to my content and to monetize my content. So I hope you guys have learned something from this. I know I have this. It like the Crowder Mazda thing is such a small thing. It's really what came from that is what was so important. Listen, tomorrow night, I've decided that I'm going to open this up to you folks as well. So we're going to continue this discussion, and I'm going to open the floor. I apologize for not letting more people on, but I really wanted to talk to Andrew about this. He's been doing this for a while, and we've had these discussions before, and I thought you guys might enjoy it. So join us tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will continue this conversation. I'll bring as many of you on here as you want to. Let's keep it civil, and let's just analyze this and learn from these events. If, thanks to Andrew so much for coming on. Wonderful guy, great conversationalist, and well, I'm going to say that because we see eye to eye. That really, thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that, especially with short notice and so little communication we were able to have. Guys, I know you guys had fantastic questions in the chat. This is one that I'm actually going to go back and look at. If you folks are, if you folks are watching this after it processes, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you join us for the next video. If you don't join us for the next video, go look at the next video if it's already been published, and hit that subscribe button because you never know when you might want to come on the show, or you never know when we're going to broach a subject that interests you. As always, I leave you with this: make sure, YouTube and everyone, that you treat others the way you would want to be treated. If we all did that, this world would be a better place. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you live.